She was the greatest soul I've ever met. Pure, innocent, lovely.
Brittany Newman was trying to start a new life, navigating a system full of barriers for victims and survivors of domestic violence. On Sunday, Brittany Newman was stabbed to death. Peel police charged her ex-partner and the father of her 2 kids with second-degree murder.
She did everything right. She couldn't have done any better.
Brittany's grandmother says the young mom left the toxic relationship 3 years ago, entering the shelter system and eventually securing housing with hopes of going back to school and getting a job. But she was concerned for her children's well-being, a 5-year-old who has autism and a 3-year-old. So she was dependent on their father for help.
She was worried about the child support. She needed the money for the children.
Helping women gain financial independence continues to be one of the biggest hurdles for the system, and it's putting women at risk, according to the Ontario Association of Interval and Transition Houses. This is just one of the barriers. There are other organizational gaps that at times are failing women who want to leave a dangerous situation.
So the women that come through shelter are also reliant on those other programs that are provided by other organizations.
Years ago, the then Liberal government had promised these shelters who are reliant on the funding an increase of 4% annually. Though the new Conservative government says it distributed $172 million to a number of violence prevention initiatives and services this year, there isn't an annual funding commitment, which means these shelters won't know what they're getting.
So what we're currently advocating for is that amount be put into their annual core budget. We shouldn't have services with wait lists. We shouldn't have, we shouldn't have that structure in place because, we need a system that's going to be able to respond.
Crisis centers in Ontario received over 65,000 calls from women in need last year, a dramatic increase from previous years. And shelters across the GTA are operating at capacity. Women's Habitat, an emergency shelter for women and children who experience violence, says years ago the shelter would have helped 100 to 150 clients. Last year, they served 44. In the past, women were able to get priority housing within weeks. Now it can take months, even over a year, which means women stay longer at shelters, while others may be turned away.
Women are dying to get into shelters, and then they can't get out of shelters. Women will stay for a long, long time because they can't get into safe and affordable housing.
Brittany's grandmother started a GoFundMe account to help cover funeral expenses. For City News, I'm Faiza Amin.